first meeting of the Pike County Fiscal Court for September 2020. We do have an extremely long agenda, maybe the longest one in the term of this court so far. Some of it will move fairly quickly, but there's quite a bit of work that we have to do here. So we'll call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Brian Booth if he would say the invocation for us.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come before you this evening, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, watch over us, dear Heavenly Father. We conduct our business in a matter that you would be holding to, dear Heavenly Father, and go with us throughout this meeting, dear Heavenly Father. We do all the good for the county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. This time, I'd like to ask Colonel Roy Downey if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And before I ask Roy to start, let me just tell you a little bit about Roy. We've practiced law on and off together about as long as I've been practicing law, for about 26 years, and he's a 33-year veteran of the United States Army. He served 2 tours in Afghanistan, and he was a recipient of the Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. And he's a true patriot, and he's one of my closest friends. And I guess how many years now, Roy? 30 years practicing law? Seems like it. It seems like it because I'm not far behind you. So at this time, I'd like to ask Colonel Roy Downey to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Colonel. Well, we need to call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Judge Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Robertson.
Here.
Commissioner Tackett.
Here.
Commissioner Booth.
Here. We have a quorum and we are ready to proceed. The first item on the agenda, I'd like to ask Mr. James Harold, who is the Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel for Big Sandy Healthcare Incorporated, to come up. We have an announcement to make, and I think it's a very positive announcement. If you all bear with me for a few minutes. Several years ago, the Phelps community saw the downgrading of the Senior Citizen Center to a nutrition center. And it was because of the declining participation. And last year, earlier this year, the Senior Citizens Board made the decision to close the Phelps Intergenerational Center as a nutrition center, again because of declining enrollment, declining participation, I should say. You know, my dad lived in the Phelps community for 15, 20 years, and everybody on this court has close friends in that community. And we were trying to find a way to address some of the major needs in the community, while at the same time finding a use for the intergenerational center building. So a few weeks ago, I contacted Ansel Lewis, who is the CEO of Big Sandy Healthcare, and Mr. Harold and myself and Deputy Judge Reggie Hickman and Paul Williamson went over, and we showed the intergenerational center site to Mr. Harold and Mr. Lewis. I got a call a few days later, and Mr. Lewis said, we'd like to go back and look at that building again. So after looking at the building, he called me back and he said, we would really like to put a health clinic in at Phelps. And Big Sandy Healthcare, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, they're a federally, FQHC, federally qualified healthcare center. And they're funded in part by the federal government. They provide sliding scale payments for those who aren't insured. But they run the Shelby Valley Clinic that they have property leased from the Fiscal Court, Hope in Sayersville, Physicians for Women at Oxshire. Probably the most well-known clinic is the Mud Creek Clinic, founded by Miss Eula Hall. They also have a clinic in Inez. So, Mr. Harold, why don't you tell the folks, tell the public what Big Sandy has planned for the Phelps community.
Care for the residents of Pike County, Johnson County, Floyd County, Magoffin County, Martin County, and Johnson County. As it relates to the Phelps Intergenerational Building, Big Sandy Healthcare's vision number one is that when we visit the community, visit the building, look at the data, look at the health needs assessment for the area, is there's a lot of unmet need in the area around Phelps, Kentucky, Freeburg, Kentucky, in terms of access to health care, proximity to health care, and Big Sandy Healthcare at each of its fixed site clinics, whether it be the Mud Creek Clinic in Floyd County, the Shelby Valley Clinic in Pike County, has a mission to provide high-value, comprehensive primary care services. So the vision would be to start a healthcare clinic over in Phelps, Kentucky, with the model of providing direct access to its citizens to a physician, whether it be an MD or a DO, maybe a mid-level provider. And also at some of the clinics, we are able to broaden that array or menu of services, so to speak, and also provide dental care. We provide dental at Shelby Valley Clinic in Pike County currently. Also, we have the ability to provide optometry services through a partnership with UPike. We provide optometry services at Shelby Valley Clinic currently in Pike County. Also a possibility is the addition of some podiatry services, which we have added at some of our locations in both Magoffin County and Pike County at the Pikeville Community Health Center here more recently. We also strive to provide a pharmacy at almost all of our fixed site locations. In addition to the direct primary care services, Big Sandy Healthcare also provides a number of social and outreach type services, such as application assistance for individuals that need enrolled for Medicaid coverage. There's been an elevated need for that during the pandemic situation. And we also provide what we call black lung services, which is treatment of former or active or disabled coal miners in terms of diagnosis and trying to connect them up with social needs that they may have in other areas, such as transportation, health insurance. So it's with that vision that we would like the blessing of the court to enter into the Phelps area and open a primary care clinic to start to provide those services here, hopefully in early 2021 or in spring 2021. Of course, the building's currently not set up in the interior to provide healthcare services, so we would have to do some interior renovations to get it ready to open to the public for that purpose.
For the members, there is some bullet points that Mr. Lewis, Mr. Harrell provided us today that would be included. It would start out as a 10-year lease for nominal consideration. They would basically take over all the responsibilities for the maintenance of the building. I want to talk about something Mr. Harrell touched on. Big Sandy employs presently about 265 people. We believe that this clinic has the potential to employ up to 20 people once the full potential is realized. But the Black Lung Grant that Big Sandy was awarded covers 24 eastern Kentucky counties, and they do several different things. They do outreach for screening, they do counseling, they do the initial screening exams, and they do treatment. And they will assist coal miners in the application for federal black lung benefits. So we've got a lot of coal miners who are suffering from black lung in Pike County, and a lot of them are in the Phelps area. So we believe that this will be a significant addition to the Phelps community. We believe that it will address a major need, which is the lack of health care. We have right now, I believe, one nurse practitioner, and that's Jerry Hatfield. She does a fantastic job. But that's a large community to not be served by other healthcare providers. There's no dentist, there's no optometrist, and there's no podiatrist. And we believe that if the healthcare clinic is successful, that Big Sandy will, and I think the representation's been made, if the need's there, that you'll provide the services that are needed. Is that correct?
Certainly, Judge. Big Sandy Healthcare strives to provide that broad menu of services at each of our separate fixed site locations.
And we sort of look to the model that Big Sandy has at the clinic at Shelby Valley, which is leased off of the fiscal court, and how successful you've got dentistry, optometry, physicians, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, pharmacy services, and counseling, I believe, up there. Is that correct?
That's correct, both behavioral health and outreach type counseling to try to connect patients to services that may be available through other agencies.
Do the members of the court have any questions for Mr. Harold about this, or any comments?
No, I don't have any questions. I mean, but I do have, I think it's be a great for the community of Phelps. I mean, to be able to have a dentist in that area and, you know, get a toothache or something, need to run to the dentist and not have to run all the way to Pike for something, for eye care. I think it'd be great for that area.
One of the things I did mention, Commissioner Booth, it would be a wonderful thing for the Phelps, Peter Creek, Knox Creek community if there was an urgent care center or an after-hours clinic. Because, you know, I know when my dad was living in Phelps, it's a long way to go see an optometrist. It's a long drive to go to see a physician. It's a long way to go to you know, if you've got a tooth that's bothering you, whatever it may be. So hopefully down the road that we'll start seeing these kind of services provided, and we're going to work with Big Sandy to see that this clinic reaches its full potential. Commissioner Roberts, do you have anything, sir?
I just want to say I was over there with the judge, and the day y'all came over and looked at it.
I forgot to mention you were there. That's my fault.
You forget me a lot, Judge.
I can't forget you. I can't forget that.
I recognized you.
Yeah. I think it'll be good for the Phelps area, Freeburn area, Majestic and all that over there. I mean, they don't have any type of health care over there. And that building is such a good building. I think you all can make something out of it, so.
Thank you. I think it should be.
I just want to thank you for what y'all do in the Shelby Valley area. And I know what you do up there, and that would work perfect in the Phelps, Freeburn area too. 'Cause y'all do a great job at Shelby Valley.
Yeah, that's an underserved, it's probably the most underserved area of Pike County. And a lot of folks in Phelps, Freeburn, Majestic, they feel like they're left out, and they're a long way from Pikeville. You know, their roads are not as good as a lot of the rest of the county. And we want the people there to know that we are wanting to make an investment in the community and make sure that this major need is met. And we appreciate Big Sandy willing to step forward. So is there a motion to authorize the county attorney's office to draft a proposed lease for Big Sandy Healthcare for the Phelps Intergenerational Center building to put a comprehensive medical clinic in? We have a motion by the District 3 Commissioner Brian Booth, who represents Phelps in that area. Is there a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Mr. Harrell, we'll get that lease to you, and hopefully we'll be able to act on that at the next court meeting. And then we'll have Public Works be working with you to arrange to the transfer of the building and get out what materials and equipment that we need to get out, and look forward to seeing a grand opening in the winter or in the spring.
And on behalf of Big Sandy Healthcare, I would like to thank you, Judge Jones, and the Pike County Physical Court for partnering with Big Sandy Healthcare to provide such an important and needed service to the residents of Pike County.
Big Sandy fills a significant need in eastern Kentucky, and it's much appreciated. Thank you, sir.
And that's the only item on the agenda, I believe, this evening that I would have anything to speak of. So.
Well, it's not like circuit court, so we don't have to excuse you, but we appreciate you coming by. All right, I'm going to just briefly give an update on, earlier this week, we had an opportunity to meet with representatives of the Corps of Engineers, and actually it was last week, and we had 6 representatives from the Corps of Engineers. We had the city engineer for Coal Run, and we had several folks from the fiscal court, myself included. And the Coal Run 202 floodproofing project is moving forward. They are in the process of wrapping up the feasibility and environmental report, and then we'll begin the design for the Coal Run flood wall in October. The design process will take about 2 years, will be completed in November, and there are some issues we have to deal with in terms of the Coal Run Park. Hopefully, construction on this project will start in 2023. It is a $110 million project, and let me explain to you why that's important. We all know that the economy in Eastern Kentucky has been hit hard by the loss of coal jobs. And when you see a $110 million construction project on just one phase of the 202 project, those jobs will be covered by the Davis-Bacon Act. That's federal prevailing wages. A lot of these jobs will pay more than $30 an hour. And we believe it will provide a significant shot in the arm for a lot of local businesses and local workers, particularly people in the construction field. In addition, the project, after the flood wall is completed, will move forward with what's referred to as non-structural components, such as buyouts, relocations, or raising structures out of the floodplain and floodway. We have enough money for this coming year for 2021. We received $656,000 from the Bevan administration to help start this project. And the way the project's funded, it's 95% federal, but the local participating agency, which is the Pike County Fiscal Court, has to come up with 5%. Prior administrations had committed to providing 95% of the 5% match. We are going to try to set a meeting up. We had a meeting with the Commissioner of Local Government back during the Bevan administration, and we're going to try to set a meeting up with the Corps and Commissioner Keene, who is the Commissioner of the Department of Local Government, to see if we can get a commitment from the Beshear administration to help us move this project forward. Not only will it protect property in Coal Run, both residential and commercial, it will also, again, provide a substantial number of jobs. One of the things that we are going to be asking is for the Coal Run City Commission to enter into an interlocal government agreement whereby the Pike County Fiscal Court, because the work that we're having to do on this project, would receive half of any occupational or net profit taxes generated by the construction of the flood wall. We think that's only fair, and I have had some preliminary discussions with Mayor Scott about that. I don't think that there will be a sticking point, but it will be at some cost to the county, and we need to make sure that the county is not excluded from the benefits for that. I have asked for a timeline from the Corps year by year on how much money that the local participating sponsor will be required to put up. We're not going to have to put up a lot of county money to do this. Hopefully we're going to get help from the Department of Local Government. So that is the next step. The Corps does presently have $5.5 million in funds that we will have to come up with our cost share. That is something, again, that we're going to be asking the Department of Local Government to assist with. And so this is a very positive project, and we're going to move forward with it, and hopefully the state will step up and do the right thing and help us make the match. There's not very many $110 million construction projects on the horizon in Eastern Kentucky right now, but this is one. It's still a couple years away, but I think it's something that we definitely need to move forward with. There is in the packet of materials a contract. I don't know, Mr. Keene, if you've had, I know you've been, with your new role, you've been pretty busy this week in the county attorney's office. Have you had an opportunity to look at this contract yet? Would you just come up briefly? Do you have any questions or concerns about the contract?
I don't have any concerns. It's pretty straightforward, and it just addresses the criteria of how they'll address the discovery and how they'll deal with any historical properties between the two agencies. And I don't have any problem with it. We are the non-federal sponsor on the project, so I don't have an issue with it.
All right. So Mr. Keen's reviewed it. The county attorney's office has signed off on it. And is there a motion to approve the execution of the programmatic agreement between the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Kentucky State Historic Preservation Office regarding the Liza Fork Basin Flood Damage Reduction Project? Motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Item number 4 on the agenda is a discussion of the notice of intent to vacate municipal building, and this is a document we received from the Administrative Office of the Courts. I received a letter dated August 26, 2020, titled, and this is from Chief Justice John Minton, Chief Justice of the Kentucky Supreme Court, in particular Sandra Starks, Facilities Coordinator of Real Property of the AOC. And basically, they gave notice that to the county that the Administrative Office of the Courts will discontinue driver's licensing at the Belfry Satellite Office and the Phelps Satellite Office. And let me read to you why. This decision follows an earlier decision by AOC to not reopen many of the satellite driver's licensing locations throughout the state that were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Given the forthcoming transition of driver's licensing to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the financial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is not feasible to reopen satellite driver's license offices. We appreciate the relationship with the county and wish you the best. So if anyone is upset why the Belfry and Phelps driver's licensing offices are not open, it is not Ms. Penson's fault. It is not our circuit clerk's fault. It's not the fiscal court's fault. This was a decision that was made in Frankfort because in upcoming months, driver's licensing will transfer over to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet as part of the federal government's Real ID requirements. Some of you may be aware that after next year, you will have to have a specialized driver's license and go through certain steps in order to be able to fly on a domestic airline flight. If you don't have that driver's license, a Real ID compliant driver's license, you'll have to have a passport. So in order to meet the security requirements, the Transportation Cabinet will be taking over the function of driver's license issuing. So that was something we thought the public needed to know, but we also don't want the public placing blame where it's not due. Ms. Penson's done a fantastic job as circuit clerk. She's had her hands full with the pandemic like the fiscal court and like other government offices, but this solely is a decision by the Administrative Office of the Courts, and we wanted to bring that to your attention. All right, the next item is a consideration of the RFPs for the Pike County ATV Trails Master Plan. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Robertson and Commissioner Tackett to discuss this. I don't have the plans in front of me. I actually took them home and went through them all. And but the Trail Committee, as I understand it, has scored the plans. And Commissioner Tackett, we'll turn it over to you and Commissioner Robertson on the Trails Committee.
Sharon, you want to come on up here? Justin and Tony or Jay, one of you all? Whitey? I guess we can sit forward up there.
Okay, just to give you an update of what's happened so far, of course, you all know the fiscal court appointed a trail advisory board last summer, and they've been diligently working on this trail system for the last year. What they would like to have is an ATV trails master plan. This master plan will encompass trails that you can ride from one end of the county to the next. But anyway, to make a long story short, the Trail Advisory Board has been working on this. They've mapped over 780 miles, and we're to the point now that we needed an engineering firm. So the court approved to advertise back at the end of June for an engineering firm for an RFP. We advertised 3 times, 3 weeks in the paper. I had 6, 7 engineering firms to inquire about the project. 3 engineering firms sent in proposals. The Trail Advisory Board appointed 5 people from their board to sit on a review committee. And as the judge said, they ranked them, scored them, reviewed them based on their experience, familiarity with the area, cost. There was quite a few things in the RFP package criteria that they needed to meet, and they met a couple times and felt like they had chosen the right firm, or they've narrowed it down to the one they thought, that scored the most or whatever. Tony, you want to say anything? Justin?
No, I'll just say I'm an avid outdoorsman. I mean, that's one of the reasons I choose to live in Pike County. I could move anywhere in the country if I wanted to, but I choose to stay here because fishing, hiking, riding, it's in my backyard, and I ride thousands and literally thousands of miles a year on side-by-sides here in Pike County. And, I will say that I've not seen this project move as quickly as it has during this court. So I definitely appreciate, Commissioners Robertson and Tackett for your work on this project with us. And like Sharon said, we've mapped Whitey has mapped about 800 miles on this system so far. We've also had some success with leases being signed. Actually, we'll have some guys out, hopefully within this month, to try to get some more signatures. We do have our first trail in mind to connect with the Hatfield-McCoy system, which, as many of you may know, Pike County is losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year right now from people riding our outlaw trails anyway. I mean, that are already paying to ride on the Hatfield-McCoy trails. And I think building this trail system will be one way we can help bridge the gap, especially fiscally in this county. We've lost, from what I understand, $10 to $11 million over the past decade in coal severance funds, and this, I think, in addition to like Judge Jones said with the wall, will be an injection to our local economy. If you've been at any trail system anywhere in the country, you will see what that's done for small businesses in those communities, and the landowners alone, can benefit from this as they can become entrepreneurs themselves. So I think, with everything that's been said so far, this is the closest that we've ever been to having an actual functioning trail system. And, and I'll close by saying, I think this is our chance to do it, and we have one chance to do it right. And again, I'd like to thank everyone that's been involved with the project so far.
Mr. Gibbs? You're good? He's worked really hard mapping with the GIS. Tony, you good? Okay. But anyway, that was...
I think Tony can talk here a minute. I think Tony can give us a little bit of...
talk what it'll do for tourism, what it can
do
for tourism.
What this will do for tourism in the economic part of this county.
In 20 years, Hatfield-McCoy Trails in West Virginia have done about $25 million in permit sales only. That's not counting incubating and bringing up those entrepreneurs, whether they be repairmen, sales, restaurant, a bed and breakfast, cabins, guides. We already see it full blast. They come through Pikeville, Phelps, Elkhorn, Coal Run daily to head to West Virginia. So they bypass us and they take that money into West Virginia, which we're happy for our sister state. But after a while, we have to start understanding what our bullet points are. When you talk about bulk industry, you're talking about motor coaches, conferences, conventions, motorcycles. We're seeing a large increase in motorcycles right now throughout arriving in Kentucky. My office, Pike County Tourism, is open 6-7 days a week, so they do not find a door locked when they come to our visitor center. Saturday alone, we had dozens of motorcycle people stopping by. And it can be the same encounter with ATVs. But what it will do is it will push the entrepreneurs in the county and lift them up. This isn't something based in one city, whether Elkhorn, Pikeville, or Coal Run. These are all going to be situated in our counties, so it's going to lift those people up. They're not going to have a far distance to drive to go to work. Like we said, it could be anything from restaurants to mom and pops to repairs to sales. And as Justin says, and this committee has said it over and over and over, we have one chance. And I will say this, it has been many years that we've worked on this, but never have I seen more of a diligent group come to a meeting place once a week for 2.5 hours, whether we butt heads or educate one another, that we don't get something done for this particular project. And, you've got a great leadership judge with these two who have taken it on. They carry the weight because they're there first, they leave last, and they listen to every one of us that have something to say. And, they take those bullet points and those pieces, and they put it together. So I thank all of the fiscal court for stepping up, stepping out, because I promise you, once this opens, in 5 years, you will be a destination. And I say that because worldwide, not just in our part of the country land. That will be coming from Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, Rhode Island, Connecticut. They come in anyway, but they don't have to pass us by this time. Thank you.
And I will add to that, to our sister state in West Virginia, the vast majority of the people who visit the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System are actually out of state.
74% is what the study says.
And one of the things that this board has taken note of is we're going to develop our trail system to have the value proposition of some of the things that what the Hatfield-McCoy system has had complaints about. And, you'll hear about that later on, but I think we've put together a pretty awesome value proposition for our trail system. And like I said, actually it will be the largest in the state of Kentucky.
Just let me briefly, the trail committee, the volunteers, the public owes a tremendous debt of gratitude for the time and effort that our volunteers and Commissioner Tackett, Commissioner Robertson have put into this. The reason that Commissioner Booth and I can't do it is because of the Kentucky Open Meetings Law. If 3 of us come to a meeting, any 3 of us, then we would have to advertise it, notice it, and it would constitute a meeting of the fiscal court. So if anybody wonders why Commissioner Booth and I can't be there, but we're all working on this together. We've got a lot of people in the county that are making investments because they see the potential. People like Greg Hatfield in Blackberry, Chauncey Hatfield down at Buskirk. All across Pike County, people see the potential. Now, I'll be the first one to say, is it going to replace mining jobs? No. Could it create other jobs in other sectors, restaurants, whether it's ATV servicing, lodging and accommodations? But I think, Tony, you recognize the more people we bring here and expose to Eastern Kentucky, the better our chances of bringing something like a factory, something like a manufacturing, whether it's IT or advanced manufacturing or something like we see with Kellogg's. I think a lot of people still don't recognize it or realize, even people in Eastern Kentucky don't realize that Pop-Tarts and Nutri-Grain bars are made at Kemper. People don't realize that. We have a lot to offer, but we are sort of isolated. We have a lot of people that have heard stereotypes of Eastern Kentucky, and I think that, with our medical community, with our university, with what we've been able to accomplish here with with leadership like Governor Patton's leadership, we've been able to accomplish things that most small communities in America would not even dream about accomplishing. I mean, to think about Pikeville, Kentucky having a medical school and Kentucky's only optometry school is pretty remarkable. We've had some really good leadership here, and the people who are working on this trail system are continuing that legacy of good leadership. The fiscal court's committed up to $250,000 in economic development coal severance tax money. That's what coal severance tax was for. It was for infrastructure and economic development. It wasn't supposed to be for parks and playgrounds. That was the history of Pike County for many years, and we're still feeling the effects of poor investments of our coal severance tax money. It's one thing to put it in roads and bridges and water and sewer. It's another thing to put it in tennis courts and ball fields when we have family after family leaving because the parents can't find work. And we see that now. You know, time we were growing up, you had, you know, why we were probably 20,000 kids in the Pike County school system, and you're down to under 8,000. And we've got to stop that population loss. And we're going to continue to work on the trail system. It is a big project, and I'll be the first one. And I told Commissioner Robertson, there's no guarantee we can make this happen, but we have a responsibility to try. We've already got our first lease. The Trail Committee may not be aware, but last week, Commissioner Robertson and myself met on a Zoom meeting with representatives of AEP. And, you know, they've got a lot of property that we're trying to get our, you know, get them to lease to us or deed to us. That's still in the negotiation process, and we want to thank Pikeville City Commissioner Bob Shurtleff, who, of course, is the local head of AEP. He's working diligently to try to make this happen. That will tie in with the Big Sandy property that we've already got the lease for and help us get this thing moving. We'll thank Senator Philip Wheeler because he's working hard to get legislation passed to make it feasible for ATV riders to go from one segment of the trail to another without having to worry about getting a ticket. There are a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces in the works here, but I think we're moving forward with it. I don't think, we've heard a lot of talk, even when I was in the state senate, about a trail system. This court's made more progress in the last year on the trail system, and I think we're going to take another step tonight. So there have been 3 proposals that were submitted. I personally felt that there were good things in each proposal. One was by Thrasher Engineering that has a lot of experience with the trail system in West Virginia and other places. Then we had EDC Consulting, which I liked one part of their proposal in particular because they had a piece that dealt with property acquisition. And then Centera, which also has a local office. Ms. Karen Roberts is a good friend and strong supporter of this project. They had another proposal. All 3 proposals had very strong positives, and there were some negatives. We asked the Trail Committee to score the proposals. And Sharon, would you relate the scores that were given to the proposals? Well, let me just say this: rather than giving scores, what was the recommendation of the Trail Committee after the members?
Right.
I wasn't one of the persons that scored it. I don't know. None of us.
No, nobody in this court, nor I.
Nobody on the fiscal court participated in scoring.
No, Judge, we appointed 5 people out of our advisory board,
Right.
and they did the interview on all of it, the 3 proposals we had.
Okay. So what was the recommendation of
The recommendation, the high score was with Thrasher Group.
It was in part because of their prior experience. Is
Prior
that fair?
experience and cost, familiarity with trails and those types of projects. They actually have a couple trail projects in Kentucky also, but that was the reason, right? And that was a standard scoring that you use with any federal project or state project. You know, 20 points for this, 20 points for this. It's the same process we used when we procured or do an RFQ or an RFP. It's just in an RFP, the cost factor does come into play.
And then this will be drawing down on the part of the $250,000 economic
Yes.
development coal severance tax money. So, given the fact, and I think we do owe, you know, the buck stops with us, but I think we owe it to the members of this committee that put so much work in, that scored this.
Yeah, they met a couple times and had long discussions. They met one time, then they met again, probably 2 or 3 times. And, you know, spent time after work working on it in their own free time.
Is there a motion to adopt any of the RFPs for the Pike County ATV Trails Master Plan?
Motion.
Which one? Which plan?
Thrasher.
Okay, is there a second to adopt the Thrasher RFP proposal for the Pike County ATV Trails Master Plan?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any other question or discussion?
Judge,
I think Jason wants to say a few things here,
I got
Judge.
a few things I'd just like to say. You talked about a few local people As of now, there's about 5 local people that is already starting to invest in campgrounds in Pike County. And I just want the people to know that there are some changes coming, and it may not replace the coal industry or the coal jobs, but there's some, these people's well-to-do, and they've done good. They're Pike Countyans, and they're investing back in their county. There's been a few things that's been said that's it's not true. You know, I know how we are in Pike County. We get a hold of a little something and run with it, and it's something to do with a little bit of the rules. It's a little bit of the what we're wanting to charge or what we're trying to keep people from doing or this here. And I've got a list of it here, and I'd just like to let the people of Pike County and know it's and Justin touched base on it. There are some things that the Hatfield-McCoy or Spearhead, which is sister states, they do. But through ours, on helmets, they will not be a helmet required unless you're 16 years or younger. You know, if you got a 4-point harness in a side by side, it'd be like riding down the road in your truck with a seatbelt on, wearing a helmet. You know, so unless it's just a 4-wheeler or a motorcycle, then the helmet has to be. But a side by side, 16 years or under, we'll have to wear one. Anything over, it'd be. At 16, that's right, 16. That we will allow night riding. I mean, that's something that it's not going to stop. I mean, it's, you know, people's going to come here to night ride. They do it now. We're not trying to stop that. It will be policed. We will have people on the trail system policing the trails. The permit fees. I've heard everything from $50 to whatever for local people in Pike County. Well, we put it to a vote in the trail meeting last Wednesday. It'd be $10 a buggy for Pike County citizens. You know, 74%, was it 74% of the people that's coming here spending money is out of state. And that's where we got to make our money. So it ain't going to be like we're going to be charging them the same thing. So I just wanted to put that to rest, let the people know we need your help, not knocking it, but helping us build this up. Permit fees. If you get with us and leasing property, you'll get a free permit, a lifetime permit as long as that property's there. So I mean, it's just trying to give them a little something back. We don't have the money to buy property, and we can't. Nobody else has either with this trail system. And hopefully at the end of whenever it's done, that we'll have close to 1,400 miles in this trail system. It'll be the largest in the United States. So, I mean, we've got some big things cooking. This court has worked very hard on. I just want to let them know that.
And we just really need the citizens of Pike County out here to help us and don't talk about it bad or downgrade it or whatever till you hear us talk to you. I mean, this is a chance to bring millions of dollars to this county. And, you know, that affects the people of this county as far as their taxes. This court has been no taxes raised.
Not one penny.
Not one penny have we raised tax. But we've lost a lot of coal severance tax money. We've got to find some way to generate this county some money to keep you off from paying so much money. So when our landman comes out and visits you and talk to you, just give them a chance and hear what they've got to say. I know a lot of people, they say, well, we've been riding these trails anyway, you know. Yeah, you've been riding for not at any money, it's true. But we have got a fee set for you all that I don't think $10 is going to break anybody. To go out and ride the whole county from the Flatwoods to Blackberry, McCarr.
That's a year, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
It's
year.
annual, $10
Yes,
annual.
$10 a year.
Yeah, $10 a
per
year.
buggy. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Us four could get on a buggy. Ronnie brought the buggy. It's $10 for all four of us. You know, West Virginia don't do that. Neither does Virginia.
And when we get hooked up to this with the Spearhead and get hooked up with Hatfield-McCoy, they're going to be coming over here and riding too. They're going to spend money with us. And that's what we've got to do.
And I'll also add the $10, which for the locals, one of the benefits is your trail systems stay groomed. I mean, a lot of us who ride every day right now, I mean, it's a challenge for some of us to keep the autumn olive trees and some of the other invasive species off of the trails. So, I mean, $10 a year for an annual buggy permit that's going to go toward help keeping the trails clean. It's going to help
Trailheads.
keep the trailheads up. It's going to help keep it clean. I mean, to me, that's an incredible value proposition. Not to mention helping offset some of the lost.
And people that does own this top of the ridge or on this property, you know, they can put cabins in, they can put a place to eat, whatever you want to do, you know. I mean, it's going to generate money all the way around if we can get this going. And we worked real hard on it, and I want to thank all those people sitting at the table here.
The ones that couldn't make it.
And the ones that's not here. They have worked their butt off to try to help us get this off the ground, and we have worked really hard on this for the last year.
And I don't think one person has bought a bad idea. Would you say, Judge Hickman? I mean, everybody's put in good stuff for this. It's just not been thrown together. I mean, there've been some discussions we've got hung up on, I guess, a couple weeks on, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I do want to thank you all.
And Judge, I think that's about all we got to say.
Commissioner Booth, you have anything you'd like to say?
Just keep up the good work, sounds good to me. $10, no big deal, this to me.
Let me just add a couple things. We've had a bad history in this county. When we do have something positive, if it's not somebody's idea, they want to put it down. And I know I'll never forget when we tried to do commercial air service here. It happened about 2 or 3 years too late. It happened right when the big decline hit the coal industry. And there were some mistakes made, but it didn't cost us any money locally. And I really thought that what it should have been to Cleveland instead of to Nashville, because you had Cleveland Clinic at that time. You had the relationship between Pikeville Medical Center and Cleveland. A lot of people here go up there for medical care. You get to Cleveland, you can get pretty much anywhere. But we had one board member on the airport board that climbed up under a guy who has a private pilot certificate that wouldn't know how to start one of the airliners they were using. Crawled up under it, was taking pictures of something he didn't even know he was talking about, putting them on Facebook. They didn't want it to work. There were people that didn't want the commercial air service to work. And there will be people that don't want this to work. But you can't keep wishing bad things to happen to your home county. And there are people that have that issue. If it's not their idea, they're against it. Well, this trail system has a lot of potential to help stop some of the bleeding. And I've told Commissioner Robertson the other day, I don't know that we can do this the way we want to. Why? Because it ultimately will come down to the property owners who we go to and say, would you give us an easement or would you give us a lease? And, you know, if somebody says, don't want you on my property, then we're back to square one or we have to find a way around them. But if the people of this county want to see a future for my children and their children or grandchildren, very few of us that have kids who are here in this room or grandkids, very few of them will be able to stay here and make a living like we have chosen to do because of the lack of opportunity. And part of that's because of population loss. You know, it's no longer possible to get a teaching certificate and walk right into a job in the Pike County school system. Why? Because they don't need as many teachers. Same thing's true. Can our local hospitals shoulder our hospitals in Pike County, Pikeville Medical Center, Tug Valley ARH, 2 big employers? Can they continue to maintain the current level of employees when we're losing population? This trail system could be a good thing, and it could open us up for tourism. It goes right back to what I've tried to do as county judge with cleaning up illegal dumps and citing people who are destroying our natural resources, who are littering, and they're robbing us. Those people who do that are robbing us of our heritage, and they're robbing us of our future. And we're not going to tolerate that. And I think just seeing you all here and seeing the work that this trail committee's done, one of the things that we need to do after we act on this RFP is we need to find a project manager that we can pay to oversee this. We also have to get some land people out starting to work on this because, I'm hopeful AEP comes through for us. And I've relayed to them that, they've not always had the best press here, but this would be a shot in the arm and would be a great thing for the community that they provide exclusive power service to. So we're on the beginning stages of this, but we've made a lot of progress so far. And I want to thank all of you all, Whitey and Justin, Sharon, Tony. Appreciate everything you all have done, all the other members of the Trail Committee. And we're going to keep at it. So with that being said, we have a motion by Commissioner Tackett and a second by Commissioner Robertson to award the RFP for the Pike County ATV Trails Master Plan to Thrasher Engineering. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. All right, thank you all very much. Commissioner Robertson, when will we be in a position to act on a project manager and individuals that we've identified some folks to potentially work as land agents on behalf of the county?
I think we have the land agents already ready to go.
Do we get them here? Do we need to act on that tonight, or do we need to have them come before the court?
Well, I think tomorrow we're going to have a meeting with Thrasher, aren't we? I was going to wait and put it off till we meet with Thrasher tomorrow and then probably the next court meeting.
All right.
Would that be all right, Jason, or do you want to?
That'd be fine, because that give us time to do a few, we're trying to work on some other things and kind of before we put them in the field.
Commissioner Tackett, let me just say, you've chaired this committee and you've done a great job and it's much appreciated. And I appreciate you putting to rest some of this nonsense that we have put out here. It's the same kind of stuff we've heard. We're going to contract out solid waste. We're going to contract. We're going to give everything to to this company or that company, and we're going to raise taxes. None of that's come to pass. And if we do something, we're going to do it here in open court. We're going to make a decision. We're going to explain it to the public. But I think what you did tonight by putting some of these rumors to rest will go a long way to getting support for the trail system.
Right. And Judge, right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I mean, you're a lawyer, and we got some other lawyers sitting in here. Justin mentioned the outlaw trails. They're crossing property now, and if somebody wrecks, they're not covered. But if they sign with us on the trail system, they're covered. That property is.
Well, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Under Kentucky's recreational use statute, if you make property available to the county for this trail system, you have no liability. The only way you have liability is if you charge, or if you signed or rented it or leased it to the county. If you're not getting anything for it, there's no legal liability. So if you're listening to this and we come to you, don't worry about getting sued, because under existing Kentucky law, you can't be.
Right.
So,
But also, people that's traveling on it now, they could be sued.
well, probably not, because they most likely would be trespassers.
Well, that's probably true
So
too.
if you're trespassing, the law says that, if somebody's trespassing on you, they can't sue you unless you intentionally harm them.
That's why we got a good lawyer for a judge.
Some people would say there's no such thing. That's a good lawyer. Anyway, all right, let's move on. We got a bunch of stuff to do. Next item on the agenda is acknowledgement of receipt of the audit of the Pike County Sheriff for the year ended December 31st, 2019. It was a clean audit. Commend Sheriff Scott for his hard work. And is there a motion to acknowledge receipt of the audit for year ended December 31st, 2019 for the Pike County Sheriff? Motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is approval to renew the lease PR 04471 with the Finance Administration Cabinet Department for Facilities and Support Services for property located at 36 Mingo Street, Phelps, the Phelps Courthouse. This is the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. We receive $5,400 rent annually. This is not actually in the courthouse, it's beside the courthouse. So is there a motion to renew the lease? We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. And before I move on, we do have some plans that we're looking at for the Phelps Courthouse. As I said earlier, we're not going to be able to reopen driver's licensing there, but we are going to look at possibly turning it into a community center. After hours, there's plenty of room there. We're going to look at taking some of the kitchen equipment that we might be able to use in the intergenerational center, moving it up there, doing some remodeling, Paul, and making it available to where the folks there in Phelps or Freeburg could use it. They could rent it out for receptions or parties, particularly on the weekend or in the evenings. So we want to look at that. Like I said, the AOC is not going to let driver's licensing reopen, but then we will look and see what services either solid waste or the clerk's office may be able to provide over there on a limited basis once we get through the pandemic. All right. So with that being said, the next item on the agenda is approval to renew lease PRO 4387, and this is the same as for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services at the Belfry Courthouse. It is a one-year renewal, just as the Phelps building, and the rent annually is $9,999. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item is approval to renew lease PRO 3214 with the Finance Administration Cabinet. This is for the Kentucky State Police Firing Range. It is a one-year renewal. It's located on Island Creek. It's where the state police does their qualification, their firearms qualification and training. We do not receive any rent for it. The state police has had this lease for as long as I can remember. So is there a motion to renew the lease for the state police firing range on Island Creek?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item is adoption of a resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of a Kentucky Local Government Economic Development Fund, LGEDF, House Bill 352, project proposal for $250,000 local government economic development single county funds for the Pike County ATV's Trail Master Plan and approval to execute all related documents. Sharon, I'm not sure that this is worded correctly, because it's not just for the master plan, it would be for trail development. Well, it does say mapping, design, and development, but without my reading glasses, I can't tell what it says, to be honest with you. I've got it here. I borrowed Commissioner Booth. I don't need shades. I need magnification. All right, we're good. I think you're right. All right. Yeah. We've got about $3.1 million in that account. It's economic development. We've taken money out of that account for the road work we're going to be doing. This money will come out. There's some money that will come out for the projects we've approved for Elkhorn City for the sidewalk and one of the other projects up there. Sharon, what was that? Do you remember? Sewer water, yeah. Those are already out. So this will come out, and then we'll have the money. We've got to make sure we keep enough money in there for the match on the Wolf Pit side and any other But I don't know if it's come off the total, though. Okay.
Do we have an MOA on it already? You sent it in?
Give me an update on what's come out of that account so we can make sure, because we want to make sure that we've got enough money for any contingencies in terms of economic development potential that we have. And then, okay. All right, will you check on that for me, okay? All right, is there a motion for adoption of the resolution for the House Bill 352 project as previously stated for the ATV Trails Master Plan approval to execute all related documents?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. And just let me say that one of the reasons that this court chose not to participate in the Kentucky Regional Mountain Trails Authority is there's no money put behind it. And if they're going to hire one person to try to put a trail through 20-some counties, it's not going to happen.
Judge, we've got probably, not every meeting, but we've probably got 15 to 20 people, maybe 10 one meeting, 10 the next, whatever, that comes, and they're doing this for free. I mean, this is taxpayers of Pike County.
And they've got
just
jobs
wants
every day, too.
Yeah, and they
Most
got
of them
jobs
do.
every day, and they just want to see this go. I mean, it amazes me that you get the turnout that you do, and other people that is talking out in the community, how they're supportive of this.
All righty. All right, so we got that one done. Next item is second reading of a proposed ordinance amending the Pike County Administrative Code, Section 410, personnel definitions. I'd like to ask Pike County Attorney Kevin Keene if he would come up and present the second reading of this ordinance.
I caught the stutter there on the new title. It's hard to break old habits, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, what we've got here is we've got an amendment of the personnel policy. We went over the first reading at the last meeting, and what we were doing here is on Section 4 and Section 6 of Section 410, we are amending where it would read Section 424 just as a clerical issue to now reflect Section, it will now say 424, whereas previously it said 425, and that's just to refer to the appropriate provisions of the code.
Is there a motion to adopt the amendment to Section 410 as set forth by Mr., I almost said it again, Mr. King?
Old habits die hard.
24 years, it is hard to change that. We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes, Mr. King. The next one is the second reading of a proposed ordinance adopting G.W. Newsome Branch Road into the Pike County Road System. And if anybody has a question, Mr. Little, our road supervisor, is here. Mr. King, please proceed.
We have a few of these. The first is a second reading of an ordinance to adopt 4/10 of a mile of G.W. Newsome Branch into the county road system pursuant to KRS 178.010, and a motion and vote is in order on that.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the second reading and adopt this ordinance adopting G.W. Newsome Branch, which is in District 2, Road District Number 2, 4/10 of a mile into the Pike County road system?
Motion.
A motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Mr. King.
Next one is same type of ordinance. It is District 1. It would incorporate 1/10 of a mile of the left fork of Open Fork, and this again is a second reading, so we will need a motion and vote.
And I have been over there and looked at this with Mr. Little. It is in order, and should have been done some time ago. Several houses are impacted by it. It's not very long, so is there a motion to adopt the ordinance adopting 1/10 of 1 mile of left fork of open fork into the Pike County road system?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. And Commissioner Robertson was with me when we went over to left fork of open fork. I did not
I
forget
was going to
that.
remind you of that, but
I
it came
couldn't
back
for-
to you, didn't it?
I couldn't forget. Yes, it did. Some of these days feel like Groundhog Day. All right. The next item is a first reading of a proposed road ordinance adopting Hardy Lane into the Pike County road system. Mr. King, please proceed.
This is a first reading, and we have an acknowledgement and a petition by several residents. Mr. Love, you looked at this property? And is it appropriate?
Yes, it is. Everything's in order.
Okay, this is a first reading, so there'll be no vote tonight, but it would incorporate from District 3, the road name is Hardy Lane. It will be a length of 173 feet by 15 inches wide, if the court sees fit to incorporate this into the road system. And
15 feet in width.
15 feet in width, yes. 173 feet long by 15 feet in width.
So we have the first reading, and no vote is in order at this time. It will be on the agenda for the next court meeting. All right, Mr. King, let's go on to Ellis Lane.
Ellis Lane is another short stretch, 1/10 of a mile in District 1. We also have a petition by some residents out there. Mr. Little, I assume you have reviewed this as well?
I have.
And is it in order?
Yes, it is.
All right.
And we need to look at this later for a vote, and I think we've got one more of, maybe two more of these, Judge.
Okay, so this one also will be on for second reading and action at the next court meeting. Mr. King,
Next-
let's please
Next,
present the
matter
first
on the
reading.
agenda. Yes, it's County Road 1042, Maynard Fork Road. It's a .1 mile extension. Again, we have the petition from the residents. Mr. Little,
We do.
is this one in order?
It is. This was actually, like I said, an extension. This is a situation where the county has previously worked this road, but it was never put in or adopted into the road system. So this is just kind of cleaning that, just taking care of that so we
Just a
can finish.
bookkeeping matter on this one?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. We have one more, I believe.
We do. Next call is road number, it's in District 1, it's Zebulon Heights. It's 3/10 of a mile at 15 feet wide. And again, we have a petition here by numerous residents. And Mr. Little, I think you reviewed this one as well?
I have.
And is everything in order, and is it appropriate for incorporation into the county road system?
It is.
So we have a first reading on Zebulon Heights, and that's 3/10 of a mile, 15 feet wide. It will be on the agenda at the next meeting for action as well. The next item on the agenda is approval. Mr. King, thank you very much. Appreciate this, sir. Approval of agreement for an independent maintenance contractor for the Pike County Courthouse building and the Pike County Detention Center. This is the agreement with Terry Rogers. His old agreement expires today. Terry's been a long-time building custodian here. And is there a motion to approve an agreement for independent maintenance contractor for the Pike County Courthouse with Mr. Terry Rogers?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Next item, Mr. King, we have another one, sir. We get our county attorney back over. And this is the first reading for proposed budget amendment number 1 for the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. And it sets forth some basic amendments to the budget that were concluded after the end of the 2020 fiscal year. So if Mr. King, if you would just summarize that for us.
Yeah, in summary, this is an ordinance relating to the annual budget of the Pike County Fiscal Court, which would reflect amended total revenues and total expenditures of $14,340,027.
And Mr. Stacy, is this in order? All right. And I'm going to go ahead and sign this copy as a budget amendment. Let's see here. This will be on the agenda for second reading and adoption at the next court meeting. Next item on the agenda is the discussion of the 2020 Kentucky Waste Tire event. We don't need to do any amendments to it, but if we could get Mr. Morley to come up and give us an explanation. I've had several people contact me about this, and Mr. Morley, if you could give us a quick rundown and bring the people up to speed on where we are with this, it would be appreciated.
It's just basically where it got postponed in June due to the coronavirus. They've rescheduled us for October the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for the waste tire collection event. And it'll be held on Ford Mountain. And I'll have more details, and we'll be putting out some advertisement stuff on that here shortly.
Is this going to be October?
October the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Also, Pike County Conservation District will be having their appliance buyback in October also, and I'll be getting stuff out about that. Tonight, I just want to remind everybody that it's coming up pretty quick here on us.
Okay.
Chuck, have they said anything back if we're gonna start back having pride meetings anytime soon?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say we could soon, but I don't know. I mean, that's all due to coronavirus and the meetings, you know.
Right.
We need to get that started back soon. I mean, I know you want to. And
I've not talked to Marie other than I have to get a hold of her and Mr. Brown and see what they've heard on that. So.
Is that, sir? Thank you. The next item is to establish the Pike County Attorney's salary. And there are a couple of things we need to deal with. If I could get Colonel Downey and Mr. Keene over at the main table, where previously, by statute, the fiscal court provides a portion of the county attorney's salary, and we have a new county attorney for the first time in 24 years, Mr. Kevin Keene, and we have a letter that I'll be happy to pass around. It did not make it into the packet for some reason, and we need to do two things. One, we need to fill Mr. Keene's position as assistant county attorney, his former position, because there's no way with the litigation that the fiscal court has that you can oversee the criminal prosecutions, delinquent tax collection, child support enforcement, and also continue to provide all the work that's necessary in terms of leases, lawsuits, answers, foreclosures, and everything else that we have to deal with through the fiscal court. But the first thing is the maximum county attorney salary is set by the Department of Local Government. A portion of that comes from, the main portion comes from the Office of the Attorney General Prosecutors Advisory Council. It would be my motion that we establish the remainder up to the state authorized amount at $51,749.99. I'm not sure this was adjusted earlier in the year, but that is, and I'll pass this over if you all have any questions about that. So that would be my motion, because we do have to establish the county attorney's salary since we do now have a new county attorney. Is there a second? We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Is there any, well, let's let them look at the letter here because they may have some questions.
That is the most recent adjustment, Judge.
And they do the same thing with county judges. They do the same thing with county magistrates and commissioners. They do the same thing with PVAs, county clerks.
They do. The county attorney's salary is a bit different because, as you said, it's a hybrid pay scale paid by the PAC, or the Prosecutor's Advisory Council, and the Fiscal Court for the split duties.
And we'll be asking you here in a few weeks when you get a little bit more information. There'll be some, I think we're going to see some press here in the next couple, 3 weeks over some stuff that you're going to be working on.
I've hit the ground running and made a few changes already, and I hope to make some, I hope to do some good things here in the next few weeks if things come together.
I think you've already made changes that save the county about $2,000 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we'll get an update on the county attorney's office here. And so we have a motion and a second to set the Mr. Keene's county component of his county attorney salary. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. It would also be my motion to hire Colonel Roy Downey at a 6A rate of pay as Assistant County Attorney to step in and handle the matters that Mr. Keene has heretofore provided to the fiscal court. We do have cases in litigation. We have one case in federal litigation. We've got other cases that are pending against the county. Earlier today, I asked him to go ahead and start drafting the lease for Big Sandy. And like I said, there's no way that Kevin can do both of these jobs. It's just not possible. And it would be my motion that we fill the Assistant County Attorney position with Colonel Roy Downey. There's a second. We have a second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Colonel, congratulations. Look forward to working with you for the remainder of the term.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
And I've got a whole bunch of stuff I need to give you tonight. We do have to get a letter on the Small Business Assistance Committee drafted, and you'll have to get with Mr. Stacy on that because the businesses that were approved by the committee for the grant program for small businesses, he's got the information because if they receive grants of PPP or other SBA loans, there's going to be limitations on what we can do to assist them, and he can give you that. So can you two get together either today, we'll probably be late tonight, tomorrow sometime, and get a letter drafted for me to look at so we can get it out, because some of these people do need their grants as soon as possible. All right, thank you all. Next item is awarding of bids. Mr. Fannin.
I do have several things to go over, Judge, so please bear with me. I've had a couple of bid openings since our last court meeting. There was a bid opening August 25th for bid number 33-2020 for a slope mower. We received one bid. It was from Slope Masters LLC of Langley, Kentucky for a bid price of $27,999.99. Commissioner Booth, Paul Williamson, and myself had the opportunity to go to Langley and look at this slope mower, and I think we were all pretty impressed with it. It's my recommendation that we award the bid to Slope Master LLC for a bid price of $27,999.99.
Is there a motion to award bid number 33-2020 for slope mower to Slope Master LLC of Langley, Kentucky for the bid of $27,999.99 and approval to issue a check in that amount? We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any other question or discussion?
So where are we going to use this at?
This will be used at Grants Branch, at our landfill and at South Williamson.
Oh,
I understand.
any of the parks?
Any parks that have the huge slope.
Okay, okay.
It's a lot safer to
Right.
have a remote control on a heavy slope than to have a man on a piece of equipment on a slope like that.
Yeah, that's the last thing we need is to put somebody trying to, the impoundment at Grants Branch has to be cut in a certain way to prevent erosion, is my understanding. And the landfill has to be kept cut. And as you know, there's a lot of slope over there. It has to be cut a certain way too in order to stay in compliance with the state requirements. So we felt that this was the safest thing to do. And the city has used these slope mowers for some time. It's a lot cheaper than paying, workers' comp to somebody or, God forbid somebody get killed. We've seen that happen a lot of times here. People flipping tractors and lawnmowers on these slopes. We have one near miss with one of our commissioners. Not to bring up a bad for Commissioner Robertson, but so we think it's a good investment, and we have a motion and a second. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Mr. Fannin.
We had 2 bid openings today. The first one was bid number 35-2020. It was for 2 2018 or newer GMC Terrains for the Sheriff's Department. We received 1 bid. It was from Walter Chevrolet of Pikeville. The 2018 Terrain number 1, the total cost of $21,768, and the 2018 Terrain number 2 at a total cost of $23,259. The vehicles meet all of the specifications that were in the bid package. This is also part of the LGEDF coal severance money that was drawn down a while back for the sheriff vehicles. It's my recommendation that we award this bid to Walter Chevrolet.
And Sharon, that money has already come off the total, is that correct? Okay. All right, so this is the first 2 vehicles for the sheriff's office, and it is for a 2018 Terrain for $21,768, and another one to $23,259. This is for Walter Chevrolet. And would there be a motion to award the bid to Walter Chevrolet for these 2 vehicles and authorization to issue check for payment therefore?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Okay.
We also had another bid opening today, bid number 362020. This is also the same thing for the Sheriff's Department. It's for 1 2019 or newer Toyota Camry. We received 1 bid from Walter Chevrolet, a 2019 Toyota Camry, total cost $22,829. The vehicle meets all specifications that were in the bid package. It's my recommendation that we award the bid to Walter Chevrolet.
And this is also the LGEDF project that we had previously drawn down, correct?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to award a bid number 36-2020 to Walter Chevrolet for a 2019 Toyota Camry for the amount of $22,829 and permission to issue check for payment therefore?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes.
Also, the Sheriff's Department was needing a new Tahoe. I think this Tahoe is to be used for their K-9 unit. We contacted the dealer that has the state contract for General Motors, Bachman, and usually when you order a vehicle off state contract, you have to order it and wait 4 or 5 months to get it in. They actually have the vehicle that we're needing setting on their lot. There's about an $11,000 discount because it's on state contract. It is a 2020 Tahoe 4-wheel drive, and we can buy it on the state contract price for $37,931.48. I've gone over all the specifications of this vehicle with the Sheriff's Department, and this is the vehicle they like to have. I recommend that we purchase this vehicle from Bachman for a price of $37,931.48, and this is also the LGEDF money.
All right. Is there a motion to purchase the 2020 Chevy Tahoe four-wheel drive for the sheriff's office on state contract price from Bachman Chevrolet at $37,931.48? Also part of the LGEDF drawdown for the sheriff's office.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Back up. Let me restate that. Is there also, let me restate the motion. Is there a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2020 Tahoe for the sheriff's office for $37,931.48 and permission to issue, authorization to issue check therefore to Bachman Chevrolet?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
Something that we've discussed in our last few meetings and discussed for actually several months is our need for a jetter. I think we talked last meeting about one of the top jetters out there is produced by Sewer Equipment of America. Brown Equipment is the distributor for these. I had the opportunity to sit down with Fabian, our road commissioner, in a conference call with a salesman from Brown Equipment, also with a rep from Sewer Equipment. We were all four on the line, and we went through this jetter option by option to make sure that we got exactly what we needed. One of the biggest upgrades that we made was we upgraded to a 74 horsepower Kohler diesel engine. I know that's something that
Thank you, Greg.
the commissioners were interested in. Also a few other things, a wash down system with hose and wand, also a hydraulic pressure gauge, as well as some other things. After putting all those options on this, the price came to $68,349.11. We can buy this through our Sourcewell contract at that price, so there's no need to bid. It does have a 1-year warranty on it. They told us there was a 90-day lead time on it. They're pushing all they can and hope to be able to push that lead time back to 60 days.
My question is this: do we need a jetter? Fabian, you come up.
Judge, we absolutely need the jetter. I mean, we're talking about blacktop on these roads. Say next year we have a little washout, it plugs some of these drains up, these smaller drains with rock. And normally then you would have to cut that new blacktop up to either take that out, clean it, and put it back, or replace. If you have the jetter, you can clean it out without damaging the blacktop.
It'll save us money over a period of time.
It definitely
I
will.
just don't understand how a county this big did not have a jetter that operated before now. I mean, I'm just saying,
I agree.
Well, we had one, but it wasn't too operational.
it wasn't what.
We had a couple of them, but they weren't too operational.
Can we make sure that there's going to be only a couple people that will be responsible? This new equipment that we're buying, the specialized equipment,
Yes.
it
And
doesn't need to be from lot to lot. It needs to be with certain people trained to
agree.
use it.
I agree.
And if they tear it up, it's going to be on them. Because in the past, it went from lot to lot to lot to lot. Nobody got trained on it, I would suspect. And we had two old jetters when we came in office, and one of them ended up going over a hill, if I remember correctly, and one of them blew a motor up.
And I think
the
the
pump.
pump blew up
Pump
on
blew
one or
up in one.
something.
So, Frankie, we are in a financial position to do this. Okay. Is
So
there
we're
a motion to purchase this jetter for the sum of $68,349.11 from Sewer Equipment and authorization to the treasurer to issue payment therefore?
Motion.
The tie. Give me,
Give it to Booth.
Second.
I need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second? You can't make a second until we have a motion.
Oh, I thought you were gonna take both of theirs.
Just make it. I'll make a second.
Second.
I'll make the second.
You make a second.
I'll make the second. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Mr. Fannin.
Something else that we've talked about for quite some time is the need for a new paver. We looked at several different types. I think after a lot of investigation, we were highly recommend a Caterpillar paver. I think that's the one that the court is most interested in. We've had several meetings with the people from Wayne Supply here at the courthouse, and Fabian and I went to Lexington to Wayne Supply to look at one of the pavers they had and meet with them down there. We originally spec'd out a paver like we needed, and the cost was going to be $373,000, but we wouldn't be able to get it till December. We wanted to put quite a bit of hardtop down this fall. We asked Wayne Supply if they would look around and see if there was one like we needed on a lot somewhere that we could buy and have a lot quicker. They did locate a paver the same size. It was actually in Salem, Virginia at Carter Caterpillar, but that paver had a lot more options on it than the one we spec'd out. It actually had $67,000 more worth of options on it than the one we spec'd out. So the price of it was $430,000. Biggest difference is it was an all-wheel drive instead of a front-wheel assist, and really, we could really use an all-wheel drive on some of our steep hollows here in the county. Also, the one in Salem, Virginia is a 2019 model instead of a 2020. It is brand new, sitting on the lot, but it's a 2019 model. I asked them if they could get us some kind of pricing concessions from the state contract because it's a 2019 model. James Akers, our local salesman here, and Brandon Shepard, who is the more or less paver expert out of Lexington, have gone out of their way to really help us on this, and they went back and forth to corporate to kind of help negotiate on, for us, and they came back with a $394,000 price, and then they came back with a $385,000 price, and then they came back with a $385,000 price with an extended warranty included. So instead of having just a 1 year, more or less bumper-to-bumper warranty, we'll have a 3-year, 4,000-hour powertrain and hydraulic warranty on the machine for the $385,000 price. We were interested in possibly leasing this piece of equipment through Caterpillar. The interest rate was a 3.59, and we kind of negotiated down to a 3.19, and then down to a 2.9.
And then the judge told you to do something.
With the judge's advice, he wanted me to check with some of our local lenders to see what we could do. We checked with BB&T Community Trust and U.S. Bank, and very surprisingly, his advice was well taken, and the best local rate that I got
That's
was...
a hard admission, just so everybody knows. That for Greg to say I'm right about something, that's not always common.
But I did get a very good rate through U.S. Bank for a 1.486 interest rate on the 60-month loan. So actually, it would be my recommendation that we buy this paver from Wayne Supply for a sale price of $385,369 and finance it through U.S. Bank for 60 months. Now this is a 60-month lease purchase, so at the end of the lease, the piece of equipment will be ours. But lease it at a 1.486 interest rate for the 60 months. That would be my recommendation.
So initially, this piece of equipment was $400 and how much?
$430,000.
So you negotiated $45,000 in savings off of the initial purchase price.
Correct. Plus also had it added in an extended warranty.
And this thing is loaded.
Yes.
So they have agreed to provide training, Mr. Little, to the crew?
They have agreed to 1-day training at Wayne, and then they also agreed to the first day that we put that in service that someone will stay with us as another little training to help.
And this also would be used by a limited number of people. I think I said we need to train 6 people plus yourself on it.
It will.
The county only has one operable paver.
This will make our second, yes.
And the other one's a small paver that you really can't put a lot of pavement down.
Right. Yeah, it's not really for production. This machine here, we should be able to rock and roll and get some blacktop down with
Now,
that.
I think the number, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is if we put the pavement down it's about $10,000 less per mile than if we hire Mountain Enterprises to lay it.
Correct, yeah, it's somewhere close to that, yes.
So by doing it in-house, and we're gonna do about 45 miles of paving this fall and this spring, which is probably the most that's been done in this county in a long, long time,
Yes.
we'll be able to more than pay for this paver by doing it in-house.
Oh, correct, yes.
So, and then going forward, next year, we'll hopefully do the same amount of paving, and then we're money ahead. So for every 5 miles we do, we save enough money to do another mile of paving.
Do another mile.
So I think it's a good deal, and I think it's, we've got the talent, we've got the people that can do this, and if it saves us $10,000 a mile, then I think we ought to do it.
My question is, what day you starting?
As soon as we get it.
Well-
As soon as it hits the ground and they say, and we do the training, we're starting.
I think there's something that these people need to understand too on the pothole patching. One of the reasons we're behind is we've not been able to get blacktop.
For 2 weeks. A little bit over 2 weeks. now.
But through the year, you've had trouble getting it.
Yes,
Because if they're running a special blend, or Mountain's doing their own jobs,
then we don't get that
then we
special
stand
blend.
behind them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and he said it'd been a little over 2 weeks since we've been able to get blacktop, so.
all right, is this Sourcewell contract or state contract?
This is on state contract.
Okay, so is there a motion to purchase a Caterpillar paving machine from Wayne Supply for the price of $385,369 and authorization to do it as a lease purchase through U.S. Bank Corp. Government Leasing and Finance for a rate of 1.486% for a period of 60 months?
Motion.
A motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. And is there another one, Mr. Fannin?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Something else that we're in need of, we've kind of needed for a while, is a Isotope Identifier. Now, what this is a piece of equipment that goes with our radiation detection system in our landfill. We bought about a year ago a system so that if a garbage truck pulls on our scales and has some type of radioactive material in it, that it will let us know that the material is there. But what we don't have is something that once we realize we have something radioactive, actually what it is and how to deal with it. And this is the equipment will do that. Somebody that knows a whole lot more about this than I do is CJ, and I've asked him to come tonight. I'd like him to come up and kind of explain these pieces of equipment that we need.
He's a running.
And I think this is required by the state, is it not? Go ahead, sir.
All right, the initial isotope identifier, Berkeley Nucleonics is the one we've been looking at. We went through, they have a GSA pricing on it, so it does, the sensors that it has is a sodium iodide sensor. They offer 3 different sensors. Sodium iodide is the most common sensor used. It's also the cheapest one to buy. The 3x3 sensor, this will give us the ability to identify what is in the trucks at roughly 20 to 25 feet distance. Because the biggest thing with radiation is just time, distance, and shielding. You want to, the farther away you are, the less time you're exposed to it, and the shielding between you and it is how you protect anybody from being exposed to radiation. Get too much radiation, causes lots of medical issues. Luckily, most of the radiation that actually all the radiation that we've seen so far come through the landfill has been medical grade radiation isotopes, which has a short half-life. One of the things they want to keep out is man-made radiation sources, T-norm stuff. Some of that can have a several thousand-year half-life. And the thing with the state is you have to, if that gets into the landfill, it's billions to clean it up.
Yeah, that's the problem they had in Estill County when they were hauling highly radioactive waste into the landfill there. And I think that there was someone just got in some trouble in Morgan County for this.
I think the one in Estill County, I think that stuff that come in there had a 16,000 year half-life, and according to the state, that stuff has to be quarantined for 10 times its half-life. So 160,000 years, they have to quarantine that, and it cost them billions to clean it up. Because once it irradiates everything around it. Once they started putting it down, it starts irradiating the garbage and the ground around it.
And we put the radiation detectors in at the landfill. Is there any grant money or anything we can access, Judge, on this? Okay. So what exactly do we need to purchase here then?
The addition to the radio isotope identifier is also some personal, they're pager size, personal identification units that we're looking at 3 of those. 2 of us, usually it's me and Larry that are at the landfills going through that stuff, and then 1 for Bruce that's doing the illegal dumps, because if that stuff's coming through the landfill, it's very likely that it could be thrown out in an illegal dump. And some of the stuff, even though it's medical waste, if you get into it, it can cause you severe medical problems for the rest of your life.
I mean, most people know that radiation causes cancer and a lot of other things.
Right. Like one of the most prevalent things we've been doing so far has been iodine-131. Not only is it radioactive and you've got the radiation part to deal with, but if iodine-131 is put into somebody with a healthy thyroid, it will kill your healthy thyroid. So there's another thing. So we're looking at the personal identifiers that we can set alarms, and that way you don't get into something too deep. So the total on the whole thing for the 3 personal alarms and then the 1 big identifier, which the big identifier also, I conferred with the state radiation cabinet on this because they're the know-all for everything on that, is immediately as we take the sample, you can hit 1 button on the identifier and they can see it in their office, and they can confirm what we're dealing with and give us instructions on how to proceed with it.
Okay. So as I understand it, there's several items that we need, and it's the ones highlighted in yellow, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
But now some of it, like the personal radiation detectors, are not highlighted.
Did you not give him that one? All right, here, you want this one? You want this one?
You hand me that one, CJ, if you don't care. So that way I'll know what we need here, because
I think the second page, everything on the second page is what we need.
what do we need on the first page?
First page is on the Berkeley Acknowledgement is that's the SAM 950 isotope identifier. That is the big one that will identify and tell you through the trucks and everything before loads ever took off of a truck.
You know, where on here are the personal ones? I see in person.
The one I just give you is for the personal ones.
Okay. So is there a motion to purchase from Berkeley Nucleonics Corporation a SAM-3 handheld radiation isotope identifier for the government contract price of $17,664, a Rad-Eye Spider vehicle kit for 2 of those for $5,831, a Rad-Eye Spider pocket-sized personal radiation detector, 1 of those for $2,541, a holster for 1 of those for $37.40, and to cover freight for $40. So the total would be $17,664 for the isotope identifier, and then the personal identifiers and equipment for $8,449.90, and authorization to issue payment for the same. We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes, so a big chunk of this will be paid for by the money that you've got, Doug, is that correct?
10 of
BJ?
it, 10 of it,
10.
what we've got, and then
The rest
the
of
rest
it?
of it, yeah.
Thank you very much, CJ, very informative, appreciate it. Mr. Little. We have the road department progress report and the work for the upcoming period. Is there a motion to to approve the Pike County Commissioners' recommended road maintenance list?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
And we have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Mr. Little, do you have anything to add, sir?
I really don't. I mean, we're all out, we're mowing and working. I mean, we're trying hard. So, just be patient with us and,
I do have a funny story to tell.
well, that's the reason I was reaching back and the reason I was grinning because, I'm still itching a little bit.
So Saturday night, I called Mr. Little because there was a large tree down on the left fork of Island Creek, blocking both sides of the road. So Fabian comes out at 11 o'clock, Mackey comes out with him, and they proceeded to try to start cutting this tree, and they just happened to get into a yellow jacket's nest. So 20 stings later, Fabian finally
Shirtless,
got away from him,
shirtless,
shirtless.
12 o'clock.
So most of the
running down
time,
Island Creek.
if anybody on the left fork of Island Creek wonders why a road department employee was running around shirtless at 11
You now
o'clock
know.
at night, we now know.
Yep.
And I had offered to come down there and help, but
I wish
I'm
you
glad
would've.
I didn't. So,
I wish you
so
would.
one time I'm glad I didn't go out with Mr. Little. So anyway, we appreciate you, and I appreciate what you and Mackey and all the road department employees. It's not unusual to get called out in the middle of the night.
No, we
And I'll
have,
say this much, since I've been county judge, every time that we've had a crew go out in the middle of the night, almost every time, Fabian's been there. And when they realized the
That's
tree
right.
was too big to cut, he went all the way back and trammed the backhoe from Robinson Creek down there to help remove it. And it was a big project.
it
And I
was.
think-
And the backhoe had windows that you could keep shut.
Yeah. So he was able to stay away from the yellow jackets, but, that was a funny little story, because the next morning when I called him, it was, he was in pretty bad shape the next morning, so.
No, calamine lotion.
So anyway, we have a motion and a second. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is treasurer's business. Mr. Stacy.
Judge, when you were talking earlier about the CARES Act money, the small business grant relief funds that the court wants to give to businesses, we want to try to expedite that money out to the public as quick as possible, but we still have to comply with all the regulations to get reimbursed. So, like you said, tomorrow, me and the Assistant County Attorney will work up the form that we'll mail out to those grant recipients. Once we get the form out, I would like to ask the court for a standing order to authorize payments for all of the CARES Act Small Business Grant Relief Fund recipients, once we receive their certification form back, to receive the grant funds that was recommended by the grant committee.
All right, what I want you to do when we get this letter done with you and Mr. Downey, we need to send that to Billy Renee Johnson in the Cole County office, DLG, and make sure that that meets the requirements before we start processing these, okay? Because I don't want there to be any hiccups with us getting reimbursed for this, okay?
I agree.
So so that's your responsibility, Mr. Downey's, is to make sure we get our money back. So let me explain this. Of the $1.9 million in CARES Act funds that were allocated to Pike County, we're very limited on what we can actually access. And one of the things that this money can be used for is a grant program for small businesses that have been impacted by COVID. We had a long conversation on Friday with the Department of Local Government on how we can recover some of the money for A, the Sheriff's Office, and B, under this grant program. So we put a committee together with publisher of the newspaper, several members of the community, our Commonwealth Attorney, our Sheriff, Rod Varney, who's a former principal at Belfry, Jerry Atkins, used to own Jerry Atkins Mobile Homes. Not sure who, I can't remember who else. Kevin Hall from Hall and Jones Funeral Home. We had a group of people. They approved these, and what we're going to do is a standing order, but we've got to make sure that one of the caveats is they can't have received any other money from the CARES Act. So we want to make sure that we are eligible to get our money back. My theory is we need to get as much of this money as we can for the fiscal court, for the county, for the sheriff's office, and for those people who can benefit from it that have been impacted by the pandemic. So,
Hey, Judge, after talking to Billy Johnson about other money received by businesses for the CARES Act funding, as long as that other funding wasn't used to pay for the same expenses, she said that they would still qualify for this grant program.
okay.
So an example would be the Payroll Protection Program. A lot of businesses receive funding through that. As long as this grant program is used for other expenses such as rent, utilities, so on and so forth, and not for payroll and fringe,
Well,
that was paid for that.
But payroll protection could be used for rent and utilities as
Right,
well.
right. But the Payroll Protection Program ran out July 31st, and this grant program would start like today's September 1st. So as long as they certify that these funds from the grant program aren't going to be used to pay the same expenses that the other funding sources paid, then they could still qualify to receive these grant funds.
Okay, that works. All right. Okay. All right, so is there an authorization to issue payments to the CARES Act Small Business Grant Relief Fund recipients once federal fund certification letter is returned? Will be a standing order, and the committee will be, the grant recipients will receive the committee recommended amounts not to exceed $7,500 per award.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
Authorize a check in the amount of $1,080 even to Grace Custom Signs for COVID-19 signage to open the county parks.
We can get that back from CARES, can't we?
Yes.
So we can get reimbursed for that. Is there a motion to authorize a check in the amount of $1,080 to Grace Custom Signs for COVID-19 signage for county parks?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
This is also grant funds. Authorize a check in the amount of $62,500 to Jigsaw Enterprise for broadband Phase 2 feasibility study.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth, Judge Jones.
Yes.
Authorize a check in the amount of $20,055.73. This would be the county's non-federal share of the Tug Fork non-structural flood project. I think they are raising 4 houses with this money on the Tug Fork non-structural.
And we can get, I think Mr. Kaiser, you explained that we can get reimbursed from DLG for this. Is that correct? Okay. Is there a motion? Motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
Take advantage of a 10% discount for the advertising of delinquent property tax. Authorize a check in the amount of $41,143 to Appalachian News Express to publish the 2019 delinquent property taxes.
And I think this saves us about,
About $4,100.
is there a motion to authorize check for $41,143 to Appalachian News Express to publish the 2019 delinquent property taxes? A motion by Commissioner Booth, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
Next Thursday, the trucks, the Mack trucks that we have in this year's lease program go back to Alabama to sell at the auction. So far from Worldwide Equipment, we've received 8 of the 10 trucks to replace those. So I would ask for authorization for a check to Worldwide Equipment for $1,504,897 to pay for the 7 Mack tandem dump trucks and the 3 solid waste roll-off transfer trucks, once we finally receive the other 2 trucks at the garage.
And
We've received 8 so far.
And once, I mean, most of this will be covered by the trucks that we're taking to auction to sell.
We're up fronting the money on these trucks. The payoff of the lease will be paid by the auction check.
Gotcha. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robertson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett, and this will save us from having to finance in the finance charges of
It
about
would save us the
$50,000.
interest on the loan every year, the headache of bond hearings.
Saving money is what I'm getting at. is
Yes,
the-
it'll save us about $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
We have a motion and a second. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
Last thing I have would be to authorize a check for registration fees for any employee who wishes to participate in the 2020 KCJEA KMCA Joint Virtual Conference. The registration fee is $150 per participant online for anybody that wants to participate.
If there's any glutton for punishment that would like to make a motion, those things are painful enough to sit at in person, but to sit on an iPad and watch them, go for it if you're wanting to. Is there a motion? Motion. We have a brave soul here, Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Forgot what he missed. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes.
That's all I
Any
had,
other business, Mr. Stacy? All right. Next item is executive session. Mr. Downey, would you or our county attorney, Mr. Keene, please instruct the court and the public on the relevant provisions of the Kentucky Open Meetings Law as they pertain to executive session?
We'll need a motion set forth by KRS 61810 subsection C and F to discuss pending litigation and specific personnel matters.
Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Any other questions or discussions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes, we will be in recess for executive session and will return at the call of the chair. We're going to call the court back to order. Is there a motion to adjourn from executive session?
Motion.
That was a try, not a
Motion.
try. Motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett.
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. It is my motion to hire Randy Mullins temporarily as Parks Coordinator with his original hire date at a 2H rate of pay. Approval to move Chris Anderson from Truck Driver to Recycle Director, 2A rate of pay. Approval to hire Samantha Rosella Maynard temporarily as Road Secretary at 2A rate of pay with original hire date. Approval for comp day for the drivers taking the trucks to Alabama to the auction. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robertson. Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
No.
Judge Jones.
Yes. All right, anything from our department supervisor? It's been a long night. At some point, we have to do an update, but we've been here about 3 hours, and everybody's got to be back here to work in the morning at 8:30, so we're going to move on with that. Also, Mr. Keene is county attorney, anything? And Mr. Downey, anything, sir? I think it is important to note that Roy was also a previously assistant county attorney for Gary C. Johnson that he formerly worked for. And Kevin's been assistant county attorney for almost 2 years. So we've got some good experience in that office and look forward to working with you guys. Mr. Hickman, anything? And Commissioner Tackett, anything, sir?
All you county workers, keep up the good work.
Commissioner Robertson?
I'll just second what Commissioner Tackett said, and I just want to let the people of Pike County, we are trying to work hard for this county. And just keep us in your prayers and your thoughts, and keep us uplifted. I mean, we're working for you all. I mean, we're not working for ourselves, we're working for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Booth?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of our county workers. I think they do a good job, and I think that with the trail system, that all the talk that we had here tonight on trails, I think there's a whole lot more good things going to come along with the trail system. So, sounds like a lot of good positive thoughts right there. So,
Thank you, sir.
that's all I have tonight.
All right, I do have a very serious matter I want to bring up. I was contacted yesterday because a close friend of mine over on Dix Fork, a man named Howard Phillips, who's one of the finest Christian men you will ever meet anywhere. Howard is a UMWA retiree, and he's a strong Democrat. And he had some individuals spray paint some very graphic obscenities on the county roadway in front of his house. So first and foremost, I want to ask, tomorrow morning, first thing is to have the District 6 road crew over there to try to cover up that type of graffiti. Mr. Little?
You was exactly right when you say cover up, because we can't really take that off, because anything we use that will bring that off will also degrade the blacktop. I mean, it would just be a waste of the road if we try to take anything, any type of solvent to get that off. Then you're just going to ruin that section of roadway.
Ronnie had a way. Did you think about maybe putting some?
To you, Fabian, can we take cement, not with any rock or anything in it, and brush it over it, and it go in the pores of it? I know some people puts that on their driveways, you know.
Well, you can, but I'm almost thinking that, let me think on it and just get some more ideas on how the best way to handle this is, because it's just like a sealer. We can't put a sealer on that, like a driveway sealer, because as you know, when you seal that, you're going to cause that blacktop to be slick. You're not going to have the traction. And as for on a county road, we can't do that.
Well, here's what I want to do, okay? I've asked Mr. Keene to immediately have his office start a criminal investigation over defacing public property and harassment. You know, I don't care if you're for President Trump or you're for Joe Biden or who you're for. That's neither here nor there.
That's America.
That's America. And, you know, my dad and your dad spent tours in Vietnam, so people would have that right. Roy Downey, who's sitting here, has spent 2 tours in Afghanistan, so people have that right. People have a right to choose who they want to be for, and no one, no matter what political party, no matter who they're for, should have that type of action taken to where obscenities and vulgar drawings are drawn on the roadway in front of their home.
And I agree.
And I want whatever force of law, and it's my understanding that there's been some things said on Facebook that potentially constitutes harassing communications. So I would ask, Mr. Little.
Oh, I was just gonna say, they came in the office today and I'd met with them and they had told me the exact same thing.
Well,
about
I
the
want
harassment.
it documented in the morning, what's on the roadway. I want you to go interview them, because if we have to pave over that,
Right,
okay?
yes,
If we have to pave over that, they're gonna pay for it,
okay.
okay?
Even any expenditures we're out, no matter how.
I don't care if it's the gas to drive over there, we're gonna take action to hold these people accountable.
Okay,
I'm asking Mr. Keene, as the county's prosecutor. And Fabian, would you get me photographs in the morning? I've got some that were sent to me, and I'll send those to you. But under no circumstances, as long as I'm county judge, am I going to tolerate something like that being done to county property as a way to harass somebody. And it's not what this country's about. It's not what our county's about. You know, half my family's Republican, half's Democrat. I love them all the same.
Yep.
And, you know, we've got Democrats in this administration. We've got Republicans in this administration. And it's about Pike County. And Howard Phillips should not be subjected to that. And Howard, if you're watching this, we're going to do everything we can to make sure this doesn't happen again. And we're going to send the message loud and strong. If you're going to deface public property, you're going to be held accountable. It's not free speech. That is not free speech.
no,
A first-year law school student knows that's not free speech. You can't harass and intimidate and bully somebody because you don't agree with them. Now, moving on. I want to update, we do have a holiday coming up on Monday for Labor Day, the trash pickup. If you're on a Monday pickup, your garbage will be picked up Tuesday. If it's on Tuesday, your garbage will be picked up on Wednesday, so you're going to be moved back one day. If you're Wednesday, it'll be picked up Thursday. If you're Friday pickup, you'll be picked up on the next Saturday. And then we'll go back to the regular schedule Monday. This is the solution we came to solve the missed pickup issue, and particularly those of us, including me, who have Monday pickup will not be missing pickups. We are not doing a great job on the census. The self-response rate for Pike County is only at 58%. And the census is supposed to stop, I believe, in September, if I'm correct on that. What's that? End of September. So here we are, only at 58%, and we've only got a month to go. The cities of Coal Run's at 64.5%, City of Pikeville's at 58.3%, and Elkhorn's at 47%. To put this in comparison, statewide, Kentucky's at 79.1%. If we don't do a better job, and I'm asking the public, and we're going to have to really push this the next 4 weeks, we lose population, we lose votes in Frankfort, we lose votes in Washington, we lose money for roads, we lose money for schools, and it will be an issue that will plague us for the next decade. So please, if you've not answered the census, you can go online at 2020 census, census.gov. You can call 844-330-2020. 844-330-2020. And I would ask that the newspaper, I'd ask Pike TV to take some steps to help us with this. I would ask our local media outlets, Mountaintop News. We need to make sure that people understand how important this is. If you do have a census questionnaire and it's not been filled out, please get it back in. Another topic that I think I need to update the public on is the fiscal court voted to work with Compass Municipal Advisors in refinancing the $13 million in debt that is held on the Judicial Center. We're not responsible for the bonds, but we are the bond issuer. The bond issue was scheduled to close on September 3rd. The bonds were sold at true interest cost of 1.44%, which resulted in savings. of $1,382,062 for the state, of which the county will receive $138,206. So I thought that's very good news. That'll go a long way with helping us buying some of the equipment, some of the expenditures we've had here tonight. And that is one of the benefits of refinancing debt in a time of low interest rates. If it's something, Frankie, that you think we need to look at on what outstanding debt we do have on the Hall of Justice and the debt that we inherited, maybe it's worthwhile to get with Compass to look at the possibility of refinancing that debt as well. Two other positive things I do want to end. I received a letter on dated August 10th. It says, Dear Sirs, today while I was mowing my lawn, I became hopelessly stuck with my riding lawnmower. I had tried and tried to free it to no avail. I wrestled with it for approximately 45 minutes and could not get the 600-pound machine unstuck. I'm 78 years old and have little of the strength required to lift the machine. Suddenly, our trash collector arrived to get our trash. Two young and strong men happily lifted the heavy, cumbersome machine and freed it. I write to commend these men for taking the approximately 5 to 10 minutes of their busy day to help me. Had they not helped me, I guess the lawnmower would still be hung up on that tree stump. Please give them our heartfelt thanks. These guys are good people. Their actions should be noted by their supervisor. They're an asset to your organization. Not only do they do an excellent job collecting our refuge each Monday, they are, as I said, just plain good people. Respectfully, Hansel and Shizuku Thompson, Pikeville. So I want to commend Chuck, if you would pass that on. I'm not sure who the crew was. I'll give you this letter, and if you can find out who these folks were that picked the garbage up, you can put a copy of this in the personnel file. And I do think our solid waste guys and our county employees work hard and do a good job, and I wanted this letter to be read to the public. I also, a couple weeks ago, after the last court meeting, I received a letter from Mount Olivet, Kentucky, and that's in Robertson County in northern Kentucky, and I'd like to read this to you. Dear Judge Jones, please find enclosed several cloth masks made by several friends of the Mount Olivet United Methodist Church in Robertson County. Know you can find some people who need and can use them. We are sorry that you are having so much sickness and trouble. Just know that you are in our prayers and that we in Robertson County care about our fellow Kentuckians. We are all in this together, and with God's help, we will get through this together. Sincerely, Gene Meacham. I don't know Miss Meacham, but when I saw this, I mean, it was touching. And we've got a bunch of masks that she made, and if anybody out there needs masks and they'll call us, we'll make sure that you get some. That's one of the most touching things that I've seen. For somebody that has no tie to Pike County, that took it on themselves to take the time to write a letter to us and send these masks, and that they're praying for us. That's what our state, that's what our country's all about. It's not about somebody writing graffiti and obscene drawings on a road. It's not about somebody putting their neighbors down. We need more people like Gene Meacham and more people like at the Mount Olivet United Methodist Church. That's what we need. And we need more people who want to help their neighbors instead of criticize and condemn their neighbors. And I sent her a very nice letter back on behalf of the fiscal court and told her that we're praying for them too, because that's something that we all could use more of, is a little bit more compassion toward our fellow Kentuckians and our fellow Americans. I think when you pick up Facebook and social media, you don't see that. It's nothing but turmoil and negative and people criticizing people. And, if we don't get back to more, we need more Gene Meachams. I'll just say it that way. And I know she's not watching this, but I wanted to just say to the people of Pike County that there are people out there who do care about you and are praying for you. So with that being said, does anybody else have any business to come before the court? Commissioner, I tell you what, Mr. Spears, would you please say the benediction for us tonight? If you come up to the microphone, please.
Let's pray. Father God, we come to you and we thank you, Lord, for the blessings of being here tonight, and we pray your blessings on the decisions made here tonight, Lord. We thank you for the guidance that you give this court, Lord, and for the people that try to follow your guidance. We ask your blessing, and we ask it all in the sweet name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Booth. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes, we are adjourned.